Welcome to this demo of using Apigee and application integration together with Gemini to connect apps into Salesforce data. So here's the challenge. How can we easily integrate, our different types of custom apps? So these could be things our team relies on, such as dashboards or alerts or other types of tools with our SaaS platforms like Salesforce. There are a couple of different options. Option one is to use open APIs and integration connectors together with the help of Gemini to do these types of integrations, as automatically and reusably as possible. Option two is more complex and time consuming and would involve creating custom code in our apps to integrate directly with the Salesforce API. This is also less flexible down the road in case something changes. We want to tap into other services and data sources, or maybe change to different SaaS platforms. We're going to have to redo all that code. So let's dive into option one and how we can use open APIs and integration connectors to do these types of integrations automatically. Here's a couple of definitions to get started. Salesforce, of course, is a SaaS platform for CRM and sales data. Gemini is the latest Gen AI model in Google Cloud that helps with complex tasks using natural language. Application integration is a cloud native integration platform in Google Cloud. And Apigee manages APIs, so everything from publishing to deployment and consumption, and can be used across hybrid cloud environments. So here's the overview of the deployment steps we're going to go through today. First, we're going to create an integration flow with Gemini in application integration. So, for example, using a prompt like call an API with opportunity details every time a Salesforce opportunity is created. Then we're going to deploy those APIs for our custom app to Apigee, and we're going to connect it and have it sync from Salesforce connector to the APIs for desired events, for example, for opportunity create. Then we're going to test this end-to-end integration flow. So with that, let's try it out. Here we have the links and the components that we want to use to build this solution. To start off with, let's take a look at our internal app. This collects data from different SaaS and internal databases for all around sales and revenue and customer data. And we also have a real-time view of sales orders coming in, also on a map view, where we see that information and also the order and opportunity status here in the list as well. This is updated in real time using async APIs in Apigee. So anytime something changes, we see that reflected here immediately without a refresh, which is great. So that's our internal app. Here's our Open API portal for our canonical APIs for ordering and this for the solution. This is where we can basically create a single point of truth for all API communication, and we can make it independent of the different SaaS and backend systems, right? So we can mask the complexity of the Salesforce API, put everything behind RESTful endpoints or other protocols like GraphQL, or support multiple protocols. So all of that is possible in Apigee, and also publishing that into a portal to make it easy for developers to connect and integrate with this data. Then let's take a look in the Apigee console. So this is running in Apigee X in Google Cloud. Here we have APIs published to all of our microservices, the broadcast service, dashboard service, location service, and order service, which are running in Kubernetes. And these are the APIs running in Apigee that can be scaled and deployed around the world to make it easy for apps and services to connect to our solution. And now let's go to application integration flows. So this is another service in GCP. And let's create an integration. So this is basically the glue that's going to connect everything together. And let's use the new feature, Help Me Create, where we can use Gemini to help us generate an integration flow in real time based on a prompt. Let's adapt this prompt here from the examples. And instead of sending a Twilio notification, just change it to say, call an API when an opportunity is created or changed. And let's go ahead and generate that flow. So this is generated here in real time, and we'll get a preview of that. And this looks good. So using the Salesforce connector, extracting, converting data, and then calling the API. So let's just give it a name, sfdc op create, and confirm that. And now our flow has been created. One thing we can change here is we don't need to extract or convert any data, so I'll delete that step and just do a direct connection between the connector and events and our API. Our API can understand the properties from Salesforce. If that wasn't the case, then we could do transformations and mappings here, also with the support of tasks and data mapping and transformation services, as well as lots of other actions here that we can utilize within the flow. So let's configure the connector first. We're going to use Salesforce Change Data Capture. We have a pre-configured platform user that we can reuse here. And this is great because it means we can reuse this across flows and we don't have to configure credentials individually. I can already have a channel for opportunities created. We could create more channels for more types of data as well. And we're going to respond to create events. Now let's configure our API and let's move over to our developer portal with the API endpoint. Let's just copy that. And we're going to use the post orders path to create new orders and opportunities. And so let's put that into our API input here. So /orders and make that a post. And for the body, we're going to pass in that CDC payload data that we're getting from the Salesforce connector. So let's go ahead and publish that. And we don't need any documentation right now, so just publish it. And now that is running in our application integration platform. This is a cloud native service, so no infrastructure is required, and it just runs out of the box. So let's go ahead and test it and open up our Salesforce console. And let me create a new opportunity here. And we can see exactly how this works. So we're here in the Opportunities tab. And I'll say New Opportunity. And we'll say an amount of $2,000. It's going to close next week. Opportunity, new op, 22. And we'll put a stage as proposal stage, so it's getting close, and that's why it needs to be visible in our dashboard. Let's go ahead and save that. So now the opportunity's been created. Let's go back over to our Apigee dashboard here, and you can see our new op 22 is already there. So this was synchronized in real time through the flow. We also have it on the map already as well, so where it is in Poland currently, and so everything was just fluid and synchronized automatically using our flow that was created with the help of application integration and Gemini. If we go back over to our flow here, we can take a look in the execution logs and see exactly when this was triggered and how the flow ran. So with the request parameters, the payload from Salesforce, what we sent to the REST API, and the overall response. So we can always see all of this in real time as well, and makes it very easy to to work with this with this data and these flows and design with the help of Gemini as well, these types of integrations in real time. Additionally, you can take a look at the documentation, build integrations with Gemini, which goes through a guide or tutorial with exactly these topics, as well as documentation on the Salesforce connector to see what other cool things you can do with this connector and with these tools. So let's take a look at an architecture overview of what we just built. As you can see here, we started with our dashboard app that's aimed at business users who also are probably using Salesforce in the Salesforce console. We have our API developer portal that's aimed at developers. And this is connected to Apigee, where all the API communication is managed. This is then also being used by the Salesforce connector, which is running an application integration and triggering flows whenever CDC data events happen. Gemini helped us build all of this. So it helped us build the APIs in Apigee and build the flow and application integration and connect to our backend services. So our order service, location, broadcast, and other services running in Kubernetes. Another aspect we didn't see is integrating with Cloud SQL. So taking that data and synchronizing it to an SQL database, also with no code. So that's something we could explore in a further session. The next steps after this would be that, of course, this was an intentionally straightforward and simple demo where our API already understood the Salesforce data structures. Normally, we would need to do mapping and transformations for that, which is no problem because application integration has data mapping and transformer features that we could utilize there. Once we have the synchronization in place, it's easy to replicate this for any object and operation in Salesforce, as well as combining with other data sources and services from other SaaS platforms or databases or other services. Also, branches and approvals can easily be added for sensitive operations, for example, approving large resource requests or orders. So that would just be adjusting our flow with those types of features. Here's a list of all the links that we used today. Feel free to check this out yourself and just reach out with any questions or comments. Thank you.